So routing is done in this topology now. There should not be any problem for you. Now let's start route map. See, here in routing and switching, you will be using this route map for multiple purposes. Like in BGP, you cannot perform anything without using route map. Although it is also useful in case of Eigrp as well as OSPF. It's not like that here we are not going to use this route map, because there are some tasks that can be done with the help of route map only in Eigrp as well as OSPF. So it's not like that we will be using route map in BGP only. No, we will also use this route map in Eigrp as well as OSPF. Fine. Actually, if you talk about the route map, in route map we have a lot of specifications. Like we can perform route filtering, or you can say we can perform more granular route filtering with using route maps. However, in route map also you are having only two types of statement, either permit or deny. Same as ACL, because in the statement of ACL also you will specify either deny or permit. Are you getting my point or not? So inside route map you will be defining either permit or deny only. So let's start it now. If you say route map, let's say its name is Cisco, and you press enter. If you do not specify either deny or permit, then remember that automatically this device will allocate its sequence number as 10 and operation will be permit. I can show you here. Show run type section route map. Let me show you that by default it will allocate its sequence number 10 as well as your statement will be permit. This is the default operation of route map. If you want to modify it, in place of permit you want to specify deny, then you can also achieve it like route map Cisco deny, and sequence number will be same. Are you getting my point or not? So this time in place of permit it will become deny. Show running config set pipe section, check again your route map. So in place of permit, this time it will be deny. If you want to make it permit once again, you can say route map Cisco permit. If you press enter, you will see that in this, I mean, even I didn't specify its sequence number, but again it will replace the existing one. It will replace existing operation like show run pipe section route map. Is not it? So in this way you can create route map. Fine. This time it is permit, and you know, if he wants to filter routes, so we will say deny. If he wants to permit your route, then you will always say permit. Fine. Now let me show you that how can you create route map to perform route filtering. Like for an example, this time say no route map. First of all, let's remove it and show IP route. Check your router's routing table. I mean, we are on switch 4 and it is receiving all prefixes coming from its neighbor, right? Now let's say that I want to filter all those prefixes which are coming with metric 2349056. Are you getting a point? I want to filter only those prefixes which are coming with metric 2349056. So you can achieve it with using route map. Like route map name is like you can allocate any name. Like for an example, you allocate it CCIE and then you said deny, because I want to deny them. So I have said deny and I have allocated its sequence number as 10. However, it will also pick its sequence number as 10 automatically as well. But I'm allocating its sequence number manually now, right? So I have set its sequence number as 10, and now you have to match your metric. I mean, you have to tell to this statement of this route map that which route should be denied. So for that purpose you have to match your statement. I mean, you have to match some credentials here so that this route map can take decision accordingly. So you have to say match matrix, because I want it to filter all those prefixes which are coming with this matrix. So I will simply copy and paste here. Now what will happen, that if any route is trying to get installed in my router's routing table with this matrix, it will be denied by this route map, right? Now because we have said okay, it is denied, whatever, I mean all those prefixes will get denied which will come with matrix 23490 sorry 2349056. Now if it receives, I mean if your router receives any other route, any other prefix which do not have this matrix, by default you do not have any other statement. Do you have like ACL? Of course in ACL also, if you have denied something, then you have to permit all others, otherwise all others will be implicit denied. In case of route map 2, if you have denied something and then if you have not permitted anyone, then again they will be implicit denied. Remember, if your prefix do not match with any statement, then also it will be implicit denied. Remember, whatever you have denied, it will be denied, definitely it will be denied because you have denied it, right? And if you have permitted something, then it will be permitted. But if anything do not match with any one of the statement, either deny or permit, it will also be implicit denied. Remember, whatever you have denied will be denied, whatever you have permitted will be permitted, but whatever will not match with any one of the statement will also be implicit denied. That is the rule for ACLs as well as route map. Now because we have given this statement deny, we have not given any other statement to permit all others, right? So you have to give another statement as well. Route map CCIE, say permit, and if you do not specify your sequence number here, then it will overwrite the existing one. It will overwrite the existing one, right? But if it overrides the existing one, entire configuration will be faulty, is not it? So we do not want to permit all those prefixes which are coming with this matrix, right? Like 2349056. I want to permit only those prefixes which are not coming with this matrix actually. So I'll say route map CCIE permit and the higher sequence number than 10. If you put lower sequence than 10, then definitely again there will be problem, right? So at the time of allocation, at the time of allocating sequence number to the statement of your route map, make sure that you are allocating your sequence number to your statement of the route map in proper manner, in a sequence. So this time you can take any sequence number higher than 10, 11, 12, 20, whatever it is, right? In route map it does not allocate, I mean router do not allocate sequence number to each statement of route map automatically. So for each statement of the route map you have to allocate their sequence numbers manually. So this time I'll say permit, let's say you said 11, and if you do not match anything, remember, if you have matched anything under route map, are you getting my point? If you have given match command under route map, it means it will match only accordingly, whatever you match, right? Like you said, match this matrix, so it will match this matrix only, it will not match anything else. But if you do not match, I mean if you do not put any match command under any statement of the route map, it means by default match all. By default the operation will be match all. So here I'm not going to specify anything, so by default in this statement of the route map there will be match all. However, if you see the running configuration here, show running config, let me show you, you won't be able to see that okay it is saying that match all, but you see it's not it is not showing me in running config that there is match all, but by default its function is match all if you have not matched anything. But remember, this match all will work in that case only when you have not given any match command under the statement of your route map, under route map statement. Have you understood it or not? Just like here, you have already said match metric this, it means it will match this metric only now. It will not match anything else. So it will match this metric only. Understood? Next. Now you have to apply this route map. Till now you just created this route map, but you have not applied it yet. So to apply this route map here in Eigrp, say router Eigrp is what? 100. Then say distribute. And in distribute list you can call your route map. Route map name was CCIE. Now all these prefixes were incoming prefixes or outgoing prefixes? For switch 4, because it was receiving. Hey, this switch 4 is receiving them, so of course your direction must be in, because you want to filter inbound in incoming routes. If you want to filter incoming routes, then your direction must be in. If you want to filter outgoing prefixes, then your direction must be out. But this time it will be applied on all interfaces. If you wanted to apply it only on FA0 by 0, then you can say FA0 by 0. So it will be applicable, it will be applied only on this interface now. Understood or not? Fine. Show IP protocol. So you can see that on all interfaces now there is a route map with the name of CCIE has been applied. Then check it out, show IP route. Some of the prefixes are missing due to their metric. Hello. 1, 2 is not, 1 is there, 2 is not there, 3 is not there, 4 is not there. Have you understood it or not?
Yes, sir.
Fine. And I also taught you that in Eigrp you can also perform route filtering in outbound direction as well. Like if you perform this route filtering on R5 in its outbound direction in the direction of switch 2, then of course R5 will not advertise these prefixes in the direction of switch 2. And if switch 2 do not have those prefixes inside its own routing table, then how will it be possible for switch 2 to send those prefixes information in the direction of switch 4? Understood?
Yeah.
So here, because Eigrp is a distance vector routing protocol, so of course it will advertise only and only best routes information towards their neighbors. That's it. So in this way you can create route map. This was simply, a demo of route map. With using route map we can perform a lot of things, and we are going to perform all those things now. Let's move again back on switch 4. Route map router Eigrp 100. Just remove this distribute list from here now and say no route map. Any problem? Now let's move on R5, or we can move on switch 2 as well. This time let's apply it on switch 2, right? So on switch 2 we are receiving some prefixes here, and all prefixes are there. So it's not like that you can match your specific metric only, even you can match your range of metric as well. You can also match range of metric. Are you getting a point or not? Like for an example, if your task is something like this, that you have to filter all those prefixes which are coming with metric in between 100 to 200. If you got this task, like you have to filter all those prefixes which are having their metric in between 100 to 200. You have to filter all those prefixes. So it's very simple to achieve this task with the help of route map. Like first of all, calculate the difference in between these two values. So what is the difference in between these two values? 200 minus 100, it will become
100.
And divided it by 2, and it will become now 50. And then add this output into your lower value, which is 100. So 100 plus 50, it will become, and then you can say plus minus 50. So if you are saying 150 plus minus 50, what is the meaning of it? If you are saying 150 plus minus 50, it means your range has been achieved 100 to 200. Because if you reduce 50 out from 150, it means it will become 100, and if you increment if you perform increment, if you do some increment like 50 into 150, it would become 200. So I hope that you have understood that how to calculate the range.
Yes.
Like for an example, if there is someone said that okay, you have to filter all those prefixes which are coming with metric in between 20 to 30. So first of all, your responsibility will be to calculate the difference in between these two values. 30 minus 20 is it 10 divided by, now divided by 2, so it will become 5. So calculate, now you have calculated this value, now add this value into your lowest given value, so it will become, and plus minus also 5. So it means that you have achieved this range. So in this way you can perform this type of filtering, right? Now do one thing, move on switch 2, and here you can take some decisions or you can perform something. Like I want to filter all those prefixes which are coming in between 2, 1, 9, 5, 4, 5, 6. Are you getting my point? I want to filter all those prefixes which are coming with metric in between 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 9, 5, 4, 5, 6, 2, 2, 2, 4, 6, 6, 5, 6. Hello. I want to filter all those prefixes which are having metric in between 2, 1, 9, 5, 4, 5, 6, 2, 2, 2, 4, 6, 6, 5, 6. I want to filter all those prefixes which are coming with this metric. Any problem? Have you understood or not my task? So in this way also you can perform route filtering with using route map. And now first of all, what is your responsibility? Calculate the difference in between these two values. So do one thing, use calculator and say 2195 2195 456, but first of all you have to take higher value, right? So higher value is what? 22 466 56 minus 2195 456 is 51200. Divide it by 2. So divide it by 2. 25600. 25600, you can write it down somewhere. Let me type it. 2. Fine. And then do one thing. Hello guys. Do one thing. Add this value into your least value, which was, yes, so say plus 2195456. So this is your value, 2221056, right? Now do one thing, create route map. Name is filter 2195 456 underscore 2. It's a name. Hey guys, you can, it will be good for you to allocate its name as per your operation, so that you can easily identify then further this route map, that okay, you are using this route map for this operation, for this purpose. 46656. Fine. And then you can say deny, because you want to deny them, right?
Yeah.
Sequence number you can also take 1. It's not always mandatory to take 10. By default it will be 10, right? Then say match metric, which is 2221056. 2221056 plus minus 25600. Is not it? Because that was the difference actually. 25600. And then you have to allow all others. You have to allow all others. So for the same route map, give another statement, permit with higher sequence number like 11. Remember that if you have given this permit statement with the sequence number lower than 11, sorry, lower than 10, like 9, 8, what will happen? First of all, it will match with this statement because this statement is having lower sequence number, and by default it is permit, and by default match is all, because I'm not matching anything here. So by default match all operation will be there. So nothing will be denied. Nothing will be denied. Everything will be permitted, because whenever prefix will come, it will match with that statement which is having lower sequence number, and it is saying match all and permit all. Now go to router Eigrp 100, say distribute list route map, and then route map name was, you can copy and paste, and then in or out. So all these prefixes were incoming prefixes. So I have applied it for incoming updates. Once you will apply it for incoming updates, you will come to know that it will filter all those prefixes which were coming with that metric which is in between those two values. You see, some of the prefixes have gone away. What happened? क्या हुआ भाई? बातें मत करो बस. हाँ, डिस्कशन बाद में, क्लास के बाद. You have 22 hours for discussion. Fine. So in this way also you can perform route filtering with using route map. Not only with using these two things, I will also teach you some other things as well. Let me show you. Once again, I will move there inside Eigrp router mode, and I will remove this distribute list, and also I will remove this route map. Removed. Any problem? Fine. Inside route map itself, you can use ACLs as well as prefix list. Inside route map itself, you can use either ACL or prefix list in this manner. Like for an example, I'm again on switch 4, and this time again it must have all prefixes. All prefixes are available, is not it? Now I want to filter first 7 prefixes in range of 150's network. Are you getting a point? First 7 prefixes in the range of 150's network. So I can use prefix list along with route map in this manner. Check it out. IP prefix list, CCIE permit. Inside prefix list I will say permit, and now permit all those to whom you want to filter out. 150.1.0.0/ greater than equal to, less than equal to. That's the only statement that you will require to give inside prefix list. You have permitted, you have allowed, you have matched. Actually here I'm going to use this prefix list just to match your prefixes. So I have matched all those prefixes, and remember, if you want to match any prefix, then you can match your prefix with using permit statement only. Remember, if you simply want to match your prefix, if you simply want to match your routes, then you cannot give deny statement. You have to give only and only permit statement. With using permit statement only, you can match your prefixes. So I have matched all those prefixes with using this statement now, and then create route map with the name of deny underscore 150. Say deny statement, or do one thing, let's take its name as CCIE itself. Say deny statement, and then sequence number is what? Let's say this time I have taken 1. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
I have taken 1, and then say match IP address prefix list. Now match your prefix list here, and its name was CCIE. Even route map name was also CCIE. So it does not it does not a matter actually. It's not a matter. It does not create any difference here. If you take your prefix list name and route map name as same name, then it will never create any problem in future too, because route map is different thing and prefix list is different thing. So this time what you said that you have permitted some prefixes, not actually permitted, you said you are matching these prefixes, right? You have matched your prefixes with using this prefix list, and finally you have denied those prefixes with this statement, because in this statement of this route map you have called your prefix list. So basically here there are two things, prefix list and route map, and the operation of those two things are also different from each other. Like prefix list, you are simply using this prefix list just to match your prefixes, and you are using this route map just to take an action. So route map is simply responsible to take an action, whereas this prefix list is being in use just to match your prefixes. That's the only uses of this prefix list here. Then again, because there will be some prefixes which will not match with this prefix list, because with this prefix list only 7 prefixes from the 150 subnets from the 150's network will match. So all those will be denied due to route map. Are you getting my point or not?
Yes.
Due to route map, all those prefixes will be denied which will match with this prefix list. But there will be some other prefixes too which will not match with this statement of this prefix list. What will happen with them? They will be implicitly denied because they will not match with any statement of the route map as well as this prefix list, right? So if they do not match, I mean, as I said earlier on, that if there is anything which do not match with any single statement, then that will be implicit denied. So once again you have to give another statement of the same route map, say permit, and with the statement, I mean with sequence number 2 which is higher than 1. So first of all, prefixes will be matched with that statement of that route map which is having lower sequence number. Hello?
Yes.
Router Eigrp 100 distribute list route map name is CCIE in which direction? In, once again, because all these prefixes are still incoming prefixes, incoming updates, right? That's why we have applied this distribute list incoming for incoming updates only. So you see 1 to 7,
Yeah.
and all others are permitted. So if someone have configured this route map in this manner, show run pipe section route map, let me show you. This time we are having 2 statements. I will remove this one, permit. So this time all others must also be denied. So you will not be able to get anything here in the routing table of switch 4. Just wait for a moment.
Yeah.
Because whatever will match with that prefix list will be denied, and whatever will not match will also be implicit denied. Once you will give this statement, again all routes will be present in your router's routing table. So in D-shoot, actually over there they can inject this type of problem. Not only in D-shoot, even in live networks also you can have this kind of problem. Tell me. So I hope that now you have understood that how can we use prefix list along with route map. In same manner you can also use a standard ACL. So I don't think so that it will be required for me to go for the configuration of a standard ACLs with route map. I hope that you people can easily do that. That how can we use the standard ACLs along with route maps. So I'm leaving it on you. So you will perform it by yourself, and if it is not possible, please then ask me, right? In next class I can teach you that okay, how can we use this standard ACL along with route map. But this time I'm just leaving it because all of you are aware with the standard ACL, and also all of you are aware that how to call your standard ACL under route map. Router Eigrp 100, now remove that distribute list from here and also remove this route map.
guys from our class got placed in CSS. So and
So have you understood it till now? Fine. Then after it, inside route map, we are also having so many other things that we can achieve here, and we are going to perform it actually. Like this time, what will I do? I will create some loopbacks on switch 3 in the range of the entities network up to on switch 3. On R6, I will be creating some loopbacks in the range of up to 5.0, right? 5 loopbacks I'll create on R6, right? But here I'll configure RIP. Let's say that with the help of RIP, R6 was receiving all these networks, 60s networks, and here for 90s networks I'm gonna use Eigrp but different process. Like Eigrp 200. So we will require to redistribute Eigrp 200 into Eigrp AS 100, and also we will require to redistribute RIP into Eigrp. And I hope that all of you are aware with the basic rules of redistribution, right? So you do one thing, move on switch 3 first of all, and create some loopbacks. Right? Lelo runs.
Shadeep, Priyanka, Balaji,
present.
Pranav, Priyak, Qazi Mohammed, Rajendra, Roshan, Ritsok, Ujjwal, Vineet, Atul, Mohammad Rizvi, Dheeraj, Pradeep, Vishwanath, Vivek, Vipin, Vishnu, Nishit.
Fine. I've created, guys, don't talk please. Router Eigrp 200 not of summary, network 90.1.0.0, 0.0.7.245. Show IP Eigrp interfaces. We'll see that inside Eigrp process 200 we have enabled this Eigrp on all these loopback interfaces, right? Hello?
Yes.
So by default they are not gonna to advertise into AS 100. That is why on switch 4 you will never get them. In same manner, I'll move on R6 and also create some loopbacks here like 60.1.1, another loopback 2, and 3. Fine. Router. Then show IP RIP database. Fine. If you can see them, inside the database of RIP, it means RIP has been enabled on them. If you can see some prefixes available inside the database, it means RIP has been enabled on for all those prefixes, for all those interfaces. Fine. But by default they won't go in Eigrp AS 100. Are you getting my point or not? So now you will require to redistribute them into Eigrp. Fine. So to redistribute RIP into Eigrp on R6, what can we do? Router Eigrp, say redistribute. Will they get redistributed into Eigrp now? No.
No.
Because there is no seed metric, right?
Yeah.
So you have to specify your metric at the time of redistribution. Or you do one thing, configure default metric. You can also configure default metric for EIGRP, right? Like by default bandwidth, let's say 1544, then it will ask for delay, which is 0, let's say, reliability 100%, 245, then bandwidth load is 0%, is not it? Or you can say 1, because 0 cannot be configured. Then maximum transmission unit is 1500, right? So this time you will see that after putting this default metric command here inside EIGRP, now you must get all these 60s prefixes on switch 4 as external prefixes. As external prefixes. Are you getting my point or not?
Yes.
Fine. Along with that, you see show IP. I mean, I would suggest you to see the topology table for external prefixes actually. First of all, show IP EIGRP topology 60.1.0 sorry .1.0 to 5.2.5.0. Let me show you. This external data is the extra data for external prefixes in EIGRP. This external data will not be available for internal prefixes. So in this external data, what type of configuration, what type of information is coming? Like originating router. Who has, I mean, this is the router ID of that router where you performed redistribution. So we performed on R6. So of course, of R6, router ID is 150.1.6.6 because this is the loopback IP address of R6, right? Fine. AS number of route is what? 0 because RIP do not use any AS number. External protocol was RIP and external metric was 0 and administrative tag was also 0 because we didn't configure any tag. Are you getting my point or not?
Yes.
Fine. If you wanna configure tag, then do one thing, move on R6 back and create one route map. Create one route map. Name is, let's say, tag and permit 10. And if you are saying permit 10 and if you do not match anything, it means all match all will be there, right? If you do not match anything, then by default match all will be there. Fine. So here now we are having match all, and because we are having here match all, so we can say set tag directly. Like if we are on R6, so I will set its tag as 600. So I have set tag 600, and then after do one thing, router EIGRP 100 redistribute, I said RIP, and then I can use route map, and route map name was tag. So in this route map we have permitted all. It means all routes will get redistributed into EIGRP AS 100. Second thing, along with match command inside route map, we are also having set command, and in set command we set tag 600. So this time after running this command here, previously tag was coming on switch 4 as 0, but this time it must be 600. Hello, 600. What happened?
Yeah. What is
It's a 600.
There is a value.
That's the hexadecimal.
Okay.
Have you understood it or not? Hello, that how to set tag during redistribution. Fine. In same manner, I'm going to धीरज बातें मत करो यार, मत बुलाओ बार बार. अब मैं इतना ज़्यादा करा रहा हूँ तो वो भी मेरी गलती है, शायद मेरे को 1-2 मिनट में करा देना चाहिए था ये. So again on switch 3 I'm gonna to redistribute this AS 200 into 100, and this time we will not require to specify metric command. You know why? If you redistribute EIGRP into EIGRP, because metric will remain same. That's why you are not required to define your seed metric, right? So router EIGRP 100 say redistribute EIGRP 200. If you wanna set tag, then it is different thing. Like you can also create one route map here. Name is what? Tag. Permit. Match all is by default there. You can directly say set tag is 900. router EIGRP 100, say redistribute EIGRP 200, route map is what? Tag. Fine. Again move back on switch 4, and this time you will see that all 90s prefixes are also available in the routing table of switch 4. Show IP EIGRP topology 90.1.1.0, its subnet mask, and then you will see external data. Originating router is what? 155.1.9.9. This is the router ID of switch 3 actually. And then external protocol was, and AS number of route was, because we redistributed it from AS200 into 100, right? That is why it is also containing that information. And also tag is what? 900. Any problem? Tell me. अरे पीछे तेरे को समझ में आ रहा है?
सर एक्सटर्नल मैट्रिक हमेशा जीरो रहता है.
Yes, by default. But inside route map you can also say set metric. That will become external metric. Like you do one thing, move on, switch 3. Route map was it will always remain as 0. However, metric have got changed, but it will always remain as 0. Do one thing, move again here and remove. Show route map. Let me show you. We are simply having only one set command, which is for tag only. Fine. We have redistributed in this network on 2 different points, on R6 as well as on switch 3. Means that the switch 4 is receiving external prefixes from 2 different sources. Like here on switch 4 you can see 60s prefixes are available as well as 90s. To see topology table for 60s prefix, they are generated by. Now this is the router ID of originating router, and this router ID will be used for loop prevention, for loop avoidance, to prevent your network from routing loops. For that purpose only we are having this router ID. You see that, we have already seen it, that in case of internal prefixes there was no use of router ID of the neighbor, but this time you can see that in external prefixes the router ID of originating router is coming, just because of prevention of routing loops.
Even manually you can
Just wait. You can also define your router ID manually as well, right? I will teach you that how to define your router ID manually in EIGRP. So let's say, now you just need to understand that how this router ID will take place to prevent your network from routing loops.
एक्सटर्नल मैट्रिक जीरो क्यों है?
Because the metric will never be carry forward from one routing domain to another routing domain. It will always pick.
लूप बैक क्रिएट करा था, इस वजह से जीरो है. अगर बाहर से कोई दूसरे
नहीं, लूप बैक पे भी मेट्रिक थी यार, ऐसा कैसे? For AS,
अगर बाहर से किसी और राउटर से आएगा कुछ एक्सटर्नल मैट्रिक तो होगा समझ लो.
हाँ, तो वो लेकर के नहीं जाएगा.
लॉस नहीं करता.
So we remove the noisy mix and whenever it is to the domain number. So it is a distinguished by dummy.
What happened, beta? Didn't get anything? If you didn't understood anything, please let me know. What? Ask me.
Sir, metric नहीं carry कर रहा होगा.
Now understood? Fine. Now we have to prove that okay, router ID is in use just to prevent your network from routing loops. You know how? The router ID of originator router will always be carried forward within EICRP updates, but only for external prefixes. So in case if external prefixes comes back to that router who have originated them actually, like for an example, R6 have given it to switch 1 and R6 is not advertising them towards R1. Let's say that R6 is not advertising any prefix. We have filtered all prefixes in outbound direction in the direction of R1. So R6 is not giving any information to R1. So R6 is giving that information to switch 1. Switch 1 have given it to R3. R3 have given it to R1, and now R1 can give it back to. I get your point or not? How? It is always 170.
But R6 पे redistribution हो रही है.
Exactly.
तो R6 पे तो दोनों नेटवर्क वैसे ही connected है.
That's what I'm trying to make you understand. So this time, what will happen that in case if R1 gives it back to R6, however, by default the AD value for action prefix is 170 and R6 is having them as directly connected. So by default the AD value for directly connected is what? 0. And it was also possible, let's assume that RIP is running there in between R6 and some other routers, right? And from that other router, R6 was receiving these 60 prefixes, but still for RIP its AD value is 120 and for EICRP it is 170. So again it's not going to accept that prefix. But remember, in case if that prefix goes down via RIP, then it will think that okay, it is also coming from there. So it is possible. I mean, there are some possibilities that R6 can install that route from a wrong source. Are you getting my point or not? From a wrong source, because like R6 is giving, try to understand it in well manner actually, with cool mind. We are assuming that there are some routers connected behind R6 and RIP is running over there. Fine. The AD value of RIP is what? 120. That is also good. Now on R6 you have redistributed them into EICRP. Fine. But R6 is not giving any redistributed route to its neighbor R1 as well as R4. But R6 is giving those prefixes to switch 1. Switch 1 is giving them to R3. And then R3 will give it back to R1. And R1 can give it back to R6. Fine. Till R6 is receiving those prefixes via RIP, there will not be any problem. Hello? If R6 is receiving these 60 prefixes coming via RIP, there will not be any problem because via RIP its AD value is what? 120. And if R1 is giving them, if R1 is giving those external prefixes to R6, then its AD value is what? 170. But just try to understand, in case, let's say that 60.1.1.0, this specific prefix has gone down in RIP domain. So this time R6 will not be able to receive it, but R6 knows very well that okay, it was also possible to reach this network via R1. So now R6 can immediately install this route in its own routing table via R1. Are you getting my point or not? So there are still some possibilities of formation of routing loops in your network. Hello guys, are you getting my point or not? Have you understood it now? So there are some possibilities in which routing loops can occur. To prevent your network from these types of routing loops actually, here it will be using router ID. So in case R1 gives these prefixes back to R6, R6 will receive those prefixes and will find its own router ID in all those received external prefixes. And if a router receives any external prefix with its own router ID, then it will simply discard them. It will not accept them. That is why I said that router ID will be in use in Eigrp just to prevent your network from routing loops. Now, how does it really work? Let me show you. See, I will prove it. On switch 4, check it out. It is receiving all 60s prefixes, and these 60s prefixes have been redistributed by R6. And what was the router ID of R6?
Not 6.
150.1.6.6. So now I'm on switch 4. Router Eigrp 100. Eigrp router ID 150.1.6.6, which is same as R6 now. So will it be really possible for switch 4 to accept these external prefixes now? Because it will think that okay, they have been redistributed by myself. So if router ID matches, then that router will never accept all those external prefixes. Let me show you. It will keep on to receive 90s prefixes, but you will never get any 60s prefix available inside its own routing table due to router ID only. So I hope that now you have understood the uses of router IDs. So in case if any other routers advertise these 60s prefixes back to R6, will it be really possible for R6 to accept those prefixes? Because it will always find its own router ID in all those received prefixes, and if any router, if Eigrp finds its own router ID in received external prefixes, it will simply drop them, it will simply discard them, like we have seen here on switch 4. Now do one thing, move on switch 4 once again, remove it. Once you will remove it, you will see that again it will receive all prefixes coming from its neighbor. Check it out. Understood or not? So this was all about the router ID, not route maps. This is all about the router IDs in Eigrp. So remember that router ID will take place in Eigrp only for external prefixes. Exactly. And in T-shoot they can inject this type of problem. They will redistribute it somewhere, and then on two different routers they will configure same router ID. So on that router you will not be able to get all these prefixes. Like I perform redistribution on R6, right? But these prefixes are not available on switch 4. They are available on switch 2. On switch 4, on switch 2, I have checked their distribute list as well. They have not filtered them, but still I'm not able to get them here on switch 4. And you will never check router IDs, I know very well. So these small problems can kill you if you are going to attempt your lab exam. That's why we always say that concepts must be strong before going to attempt your, because you will get small problems over there. You will never get over there a problem like Eigrp is not running on any router, OSPF is not running, BCP is not running. You will never get any, this type of problem over there. Everything will be pre-configured, but they will make some small mistakes. Have you understood it or not?
Yes.
So in this way you can do all these things. Fine, forget about it, and let's come back to route map once again. Now on switch 4 I'm receiving these prefixes. Some of the prefixes are coming with tag value 600, and some of them are coming with tag value 900. With using tag value also you can perform route filtering with the help of route map. Route map, filter, deny 10, match tag, like wanna filter all those prefixes which are coming with 900. Permit all, so say permit 11. Router Eigrp distribute list, route map name is so with the help of tag also you can perform route filtering in Eigrp. Understood or not?
Yes.
Fine. Do show IP route. 90s prefixes are not available. Now let's say that you also want to filter all those prefixes which are coming with tag value 600 as well. Means that you want to filter routes which are coming with tag value 600 as well as 900. So now you decided, okay, let's do one thing, because we configured this route map. We said match tag this. I can also say match tag what?
600.
Remember, in a single route map, in a single statement of route map, if you gives more than one match command, try to understand now. In a single, under a single statement of the route map, if you gives more than one match command, remember that route map by default works based on AND operation. Route map by default works based on AND operation. It means both match command must match at same time. And is it really possible for any prefix to contain both tags at same time?
No.
600 as well as 900? Tell me.
No.
So now anything is not gonna to match with this statement of this route map. Nothing. So nothing will be filtered out from its routing table this time. Remember that in a single route map, like for an example here, you can see the running config of it. Show run pipe section route map.
Yeah, 906.
And it will work based on AND operation. Remember, route map cannot work based on OR operation, because there are two things, there are two gates, AND or OR. AND or OR. In AND operation means both things must match. In case of OR operation, if any one of the condition match, then also it will be matched. But here route map do not work based on OR operation. It always works based on AND operation. So this time, will it be really possible for any prefix to contain both tag values at same time? That is why it is not gonna to filter anything from the routing table of this router, this switch for. You see that all of them are.
It's filtered.
Wait. Okay. This time, because you said match tag, you match same things, but if you are matching, like if you are giving some different things like match tag and match ACL is this, something like that. Are you getting my point? So in that case, it will not match all those things. But remember, it works based on AND operation. I'm also going to prove all these things as well. Like for an example, now I said route map, let me configure it. Deny 10, match metric. Like previously, let's say I have said anything, 10,000. Match metric 10,000, and this time if you check running config of this route map, show run pipe section route map, there will not be. See, now there are two different match commands, right? Previously it added both of them in a single command. That is why it was working fine. It was not two different match commands. This time we have given two different match commands, and this time it will work based on AND operation. Are you getting my point or not? Previously it was not required to use AND operation, because you are having same match command, match tag. However, tag values were different, but the operation was same. You were saying match tag, but this time you have taken two different operations here, match tag as well as match metric. And now so it has proved that they work on AND operation. So if you are given multiple match command under a single statement of the route map, then all those credentials must match. So this time, of course, their tag values are matching, but this metric is not matching. Hello, in all external prefixes. So because this metric is not matching, that is why no one is matching with this statement of the route map. No one is getting denied, because see, if your prefix do not match with this statement, then it will go for next statement of the route map, and here we are already having match all. So all of them will be permitted. Just try to understand it.
Yes.
If you give multiple match command under a single statement of the route map, then it will use AND operation. And if we are saying that it will use AND operation, it means if you are given multiple match command, then all of them must be match. Must match.
If we match this metric 2 to 4, 6656,
Then it will work fine.
only 6.
But
600.
yep. Like for an example, let me show you. Remove this match metric from here and then say match metric and then 2 to
6656.
show. You see, is not it? And this time let it reconfigure itself. Once it will resync, then check its routing table, because this time both things are matching. Tag as well as metric have matched. Hello.
Yes.
Because this time we specified a correct metric value and both conditions were matching. Right? Fine. Router Eigrp 100. No route map filter. No route map, show IP route. All of them will be available again in the routing table of. Now I wanna filter external prefixes. Only external prefixes. You can also say route map match route type. What? And here also, if they are coming from OSPF, then you will say type 1 and type 2, because in OSPF you can have type 1 or type 2. That is the functionality of route map, right? So during during OSPF, I'll teach you that how to use this type 1 and type 2. But this time, because in Eigrp we do not have the concept of type 1 and type 2, we are simply having only one type of external prefixes, right? So here I will simply say match route type what? External, and then you have to permit all others. So filter permit 11. That's fine. Now router Eigrp 100 say distribute list route map name is filter in which direction? In. So this time it will filter all external prefixes. So you can also match your route type. Show IP route. Let me show you. This time there must not be any single external route available here. Is there? Is there any route available, any external route available here? Fine. Apart from it, let's say that I just wanted to filter only those external prefixes which were redistributed from RIP into.
Yes.
Have you understood my point or not?
Yes.
I just want to filter only those external prefixes which were redistributed from RIP into Eigrp. So do one thing. Here in this statement, like you said route map filter deny 10, then you said match route type what? External. Fine. Then also say match source protocol. And again it will use AND operation. Again it will use AND operation. It will filter external but which are redistributed from RIP into Eigrp only. So it will not match, this condition will not match with those routes, with those external prefixes which are redistributed from Eigrp AS200 into AS100, right? That is why still you can have 90s prefixes but 60s prefixes will be filtered out. Hello?
Yes.
And if you wanna allow routes redistributed from RIP into Eigrp, but you wanna filter out routes redistributed from Eigrp AS200 into AS100. For that purpose, match source protocol, remove it, say match source protocol is what? Eigrp After making these types of changes, routes redistributed from RIP into ACRP have arrived, but routes redistributed from ACRP AS 200 into 100 are not available.
जो टैग वैल्यू हमने दो दी थी उसमें दोनों फिल्टर कर दिए थे। अगर उसकी जगह मैट्रिक देते हैं, मैट्रिक दो देते हैं, एक किसी 60 की और
ले लेगा।
तो भी वो दोनों
Exactly for both of them.
बट एक बार में सब जब वो मैच करके एक रूट को मैच करेगा तो उसमें उसको क्योंकि मैच भी होगा और मैच नहीं भी होगा, कैसे करना?
If you have said matrix, multiple match matrix commands, right? Prefix will come, we'll check its matrix. If it matches, we'll go for next matrix. Does not match, next matrix. Do not match with any matrix. Then we'll go for the next statement now.
ये वही रूट सर मैच भी हो रहा है, मैच नहीं भी हो रहा,
क्यों?
क्योंकि हमने दो दिए हैं।
हाँ तो क्या हुआ? मैं वही तो कह रहा हूँ, पहले फर्स्ट मैट्रिक से मैच कराएगा, then it will go for next matrix, then it will go for next matrix.
यदि एक से भी होगा तो कर देंगे।
Exactly.
तो एक्चुअली में जो हमने दो दिए हैं तो
But ultimately, you are saying match matrix multiple times. You are not saying match matrix and match tag. If you are saying two different things, match matrix and match tag, then it will use AND operation. And if you are saying match matrix only, match matrix, match matrix, match matrix, it will use OR operation.
दो मैच मैट्रिक है और दो मैच टैग है।
For match matrix only, it will use OR operation. In between match matrix and match tag, it will use AND operation.
So there will be four combinations.
Of course.
And out of those, if anyone matches, it will get more.
But match tag and matrix must match.
और वो मैट्रिक्स के अंदर प्लस माइनस वाला दे दिया, उसके अंदर भी ऐसा ऑप्शन है ये मतलब जैसा हमने कैलकुलेट किया था तो फिर दोनों ही मैच हो जाएंगे।
Any problem in the uses of route map to perform route filtering in EICRP? So we have all these things inside the route map. If any one of you having any problem, please let me know. Otherwise, we can go for next topic now.
There is any limit. There is any limit in this match.
Limit. How many match commands? No, there is no limit. But there are very few commands available under match. It's not like that you can match everything.
Those match commands, how many can be?
There is nothing like, okay, you can match, you can put 10 match commands or 5 match commands. There is nothing like that. Understood? You can match only these things. Fine. So if you are having any problem, please let me know. Route filtering is done now. Yes, it is done. We do not have anything left in route filtering in EICRP now. We have performed route filtering with using all methods. Fine. Next topic is going to be now summarization. Summarization is done, right? Default route. How to generate default route in EICRP. And you have already learned that how to generate default route in RIP, right? In RIP, I taught you that I taught you different methods. So in same manner, we are also having things available in Eigrp too. But in Eigrp there are three methods to generate default route. One, summarization. Second, redistribution. Third, IP default network. IP default network. Let's again assume that switch 2 is connected with an ISP, and let's assume this switch 4 is working as an ISP. So on switch 2, what can we do? We are on switch 2. On switch 2, configure a static default route, IP route. And then move inside Eigrp. So redistribute. Once you will configure this command on R5, now you must get this default route. Not only on R5, on all devices. You see, it was there. You can even move on switch 3 as well, which is the edge router as device here in this diagram. So you are already having gateway of last resort, and if you are having gateway of last resort, it means you are having default route. Fine. This is that how can we generate default route in Eigrp with using redistribution. If you don't want to use redistribution, let's say you do not have static default route available in the routing table of switch 2. Let's say BGP is running in between switch 2 and switch 4. I mean between ISP and switch 2. So now it is not possible for you to redistribute BGP into Eigrp. Switch 2 is having very good hardware configuration. So switch 2 is having like 10,000 routes available, or 20,000 or 50,000 or 1 lakh routes available inside the BGP table. But it's not possible for you to redistribute this BGP into Eigrp, so that all other lane users can also communicate, can also access internet, right? So it's not possible for you guys to perform redistribution from BGP into Eigrp. What will you do now? You can create a default route in Eigrp from switch 2, so that all other devices will keep on to receive, or will start to receive this default route coming from the direction of switch 2. Is not it? So in same as RIP, we can also generate here default route, like with the help of summarization here. On switch 2, you do one thing. We know very well that on switch 2, this FA0x1 is going in the direction of R5 and all other routers in this routing domain, right? So move on switch 2, and on switch 2, on its FA0x1, also IP summary address Eigrp 100 and then 000. IP summary address Eigrp 100.0.0.0. It will generate a summary address as default route. I mean, you can say it will generate a default route as summary address. So it will be having this route in its own routing table, but towards now. Then after, it will also be responsible to give this information to but this time its AD value is what? 90. Previously its AD value was 170 when you redistributed your static route into Eigrp. Because your default route was coming as external route. That is why its AD value was 170, but this time its AD value have become 90 because it is coming as internal route because of summarization. Right? So in this way also you can generate a default route in Eigrp. This is that how can you generate default route with the help of route summarization in Eigrp.
सर अब जो ये रूट आएंगे आज सिस्ट टू पे कुछ भी तो ये राउटिंग टेबल चेक करेगा, अगर सुपर कितने हो रहा है तो इसमें सीधा नाम जीरो में डाल देगा। जो सिस्ट टू है अगर R5 में कोई आईपी एड्रेस लिखे 4.2.2 ठीक है, सिस्ट टू पे चेक करेगा, सिस्ट टू अपनी राउटिंग टेबल में चेक करेगा और अगर नहीं है तो सीधा नल जीरो में डाल देगा।
सिंपल।
वो इंटरनेट कैसे एक्सेस कर पाएगा? वो बाहर के आईएसपी के एंड पे कैसे जा सकता है?
Does your switch to not have any route in the direction of ISP? I have already told you that BGP is running in between switch 2 and ISP. So switch 2 is having all routes available, all prefixes available in its routing table individually. And in that condition also, like if you are saying that okay, if you do not configure, try to understand now. If you do not configure BGP in between switch 2 and switch 4, let's say BGP is not running there. Let's say you configured a static default route in the direction of switch 4. So if you configure it statically, its AD value will be 1, and for summary address, if it configure it towards null 0, its AD value will be 5. So which one will be preferred? Any problem? Didn't get. See, there would be only two things. Either BGP will be running in between ISP and customer, or there will be a static default route at the end of customer in the direction of ISP. So in both cases, we do not have any problem.
अगर switch 4 पे जितने भी रूट्स हैं वो पूरे switch 2 पे सारे आ जाएंगे. अगर कुछ रूट्स नहीं है, for example जो ISP है.
Okay, let's do one thing. Some routes are not present on switch 2, right? And you didn't configure this null entry. We can remove it. Will it be really possible for switch 2 to transmit the traffic in the direction of ISP now? Then where is the concern of that entry which is configured in the routing table of switch 2 towards null 0? Where is the participant of that entry? If switch 2 itself is not having that route available inside its own routing table, then how is it going to be possible for switch 2 to switch data for those prefixes in the direction of ISP? You know very well that routers can switch data only for those prefixes, only for those destinations for which it is having routes inside its own routing table. That's the primary operation of routers. Tell me. And of course, if switch 2 do not have any route to reach internet, to reach your destination network, then of course it must be forwarded, that traffic must be forwarded in the direction of null interface. That will be good for you, because your device will drop that traffic.
Bandwidth doesn't.
Fine. Third option is with using IP default network. So let's do one thing, move on switch 2 once again, and you configure here your summary address, so remove that summary address from here.
तो जैसे आप ये जो ये switch 2 है, इसको हम कुछ ऐसा कॉन्फ़िगर कर सकते हैं कि फॉर एग्जांपल 500 रूट्स हैं, बट मैं चाहता हूँ कि नहीं, ठीक है, जो फर्स्ट 100 रूट्स हैं वही मेरे राउटिंग टेबल में आ जाए. अगर जो switch 2 है उसकी हार्डवेयर कैपेसिटी इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, बट हाँ इट्स गुड. तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि अगर ISP 5000 है तो switch 2 पे सिर्फ 1000 आ जाए. ऐसे कुछ है क्या?
Namaste. What are we learning here? What are we learning here now in this class? Eigrp. Will you ever configure Eigrp in between ISP and customer? Have I ever said, have I ever given this statement that you will configure Eigrp in between ISP and customer? What will you configure? BGP. So it will be better for us to think about these things during BGP only. Still BGP is left.
वो ISP कर सकता है वैसे.
Have you understood it all? Okay, so this time again switch 2 is not originating any default route. So that means if you move on R5 you will not get any default route. You see, gateway of last resort was not set, right? So in EICRP you are also having another method by which you can generate a default route in EICRP, which is with using IP default network command, right? So for that purpose, what can we do here on switch 2? First of all, check that is switch 2 having any classful network. So IP interface brief. I don't think so that it is having any classful network here. So do one thing, create another loop back and allocate a classful network. Let's say I have allocated 10.1/24. So this is a classful network, right? And advertise it into the EIGRP, say network 192.168.10.0, so it will get advertised into EIGRP now. And remember that if you are going to define any network as a default network, make sure that it is a classful network. So this time, because on switch 2 we have advertised it, right? So switch 2 will give it to R5 and R5 will advertise it further for other in the direction of all other devices here. So you can find that 192.168.10.0 available here on switch on R5 as well as on other devices as well. Like if you move on switch 3, then on switch 3 too you will find this network available. Now do one thing, move again on switch 2. This is customized router, so here configure this command IP default network 192.168.10.0. Once you will configure this command IP default network 192.168.10.0, now look at its own routing table first of all. In front of 192.168.10.0, it is directly connected, but along with directly connected, it is having this star. And the meaning by star is what? Candidate of default route. Candidate of default network. So whenever it will advertise it towards its neighbors, this specification will always be carried forward within the EIGRP updates now. So if you move on R5 now, check its routing table. Gateway of last resort is there, and if you look at this prefix, it is, star is mentioned over there. If a star is mentioned, it means it is kind of default route now. So if R5 don't have destination networks information for any packet, then it will forward those packets in the direction of this next hop 58.8, because this network is working as a default network, and this default network is coming from 58.8. So this router will transmit all unknown packets in the direction of this network only, in the direction of switch 2. So it is also working as a default route. Hello, star means is what? If you are having any confusion, please let me know. It will never show you default route available inside the routing table, right? But it will be using this network as a default network now. As you can see, candidate default.
And why we took only classful network?
This is the, you can say, like condition for EIGRP, that if you are going to advertise any network as a default network, then it must be a classful network, because if you are using classless networks, means that there will not be any specific subnet. Because if you are using classless, it means some of the IP addresses will be in use here on this router, some of the IP addresses will be used on any other router. So how will it be possible for you to define that?
So it will be working as a default route only for
Exactly.
routers, irrespective of the fact that it's from 192 to 168 range.
How?
It's one of those routers has to send the traffic to ISP,
Yeah,
and it doesn't have any route.
exactly.
Then it will use
This network as a default network.
even though the IP address of that network of the ISP.
Exactly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's why I'm saying that it is using this network as a default network now. So it doesn't mean that it will be able to transmit packets which are destined towards 192.168.10.0 only. If we are thinking like that, it means what is the necessity to configure this network as a default network? Because it could have transmit packets in the direction of this subnetwork 10.0 without configuring this network as a default network as well. I get my point? So right now, after configuring this network as a default network, it will be using it as a default route. Fine. That's okay.
EIGRP में default originator.
There is no command of like RIP. Yeah. And OSP, because both of them are open standard. That's why they are having similar commands. In EIGRP, we do not have that command. Router EIGRP 100, like default information originate, nothing. The only thing is default information in and then access first. Right now you can receive default route from any neighbor. I got a point or not? In Eigrp by default you can receive default route coming from any neighbor, but if you want to restrict it, then you can use this command. I got a point? That for an example, this time R3 can receive this default route coming from R1, coming from R5, coming from R2 as well. But let's say that I want to configure this R3 to receive this default route information from R5 only. Then I can use this command here. Even we can also specify that okay, default information should be propagated out for these neighbors only. That is why here you are having these things. And only standard ACLs are there, not extended, because extended will not be in use, because you just need to specify your source. Is not it? That is why there is no use of extended ACL, and you do not have that option as well. I get your point. Fine. So there is nothing like the conditional default route, reliable conditional default route, nothing like that in Eigrp. So that is also done in Eigrp now, that how to originate a default route. Apart from it, by default you must remember that Eigrp can use up to 50% of available bandwidth for its own uses. And if you want to change this criteria, then you can move on any device, on any interface like IP bandwidth percent, Eigrp 100, I mean AS number, and then percentage. Like I want to use only 10% of the available bandwidth, and you can specify 10. So if it is mentioned in question that you have to configure your interface in this manner so that Eigrp will be able to use its 10% of the available bandwidth only.
Will it affect the convergence and speed if we reduce
Nothing. On high speed interfaces it will not affect it, but if you are having slow links like 64 kbps, in that case it can affect your convergence as well. So in this way you can change it. Then after it, let me show you stuck in active state now. Stuck in active, right? To see that, what will I do here? First of all, let me do one thing on switch 2. Fine, on switch 2 everything is fine now. Are you getting my point? Now I'm going to capture this link, and I'm not assuming it as Sky ISP now. I'm assuming it as now switch 4 itself. Let me show you that query will be generated by device if any successor goes down. So let's shut down the loopback of R5. If we shut down the loopback of R5, switch 2 successor will go down for the lane network of R5. Then switch 2 is also having neighborship with switch 4. So biggest switch on switch 2, its successor will go down, it will become active, and will send a query message in the direction of switch 4. Are you getting my point or not? Because switch 2 do not have any feasible successor for it. Even you can move on switch 2 and you can check topology table for that specific prefix. Show IP Eigrp topology 150.1.5.0 is subnet mask. It does not have any feasible successor. Does it have? No. So now you do one thing, move on R5 and let's shut down its loopback 0. Shut it down. So let me show you that this query has been generated by switch 2. And see, acknowledgement is also coming in respect of, an acknowledgement is always unicasted. Query was multicasted. Then query has also been generated by, are you getting my point or not?
Yeah.
By switch 4 as well. Acknowledgement is there. Reply is also generated by switch 2, and reply is also generated by,
Switch 4.
and in this reply you see generated by switch 4. Metric is what? Delay is the highest one. Scaled bandwidth is 0. And you see nothing. It will define its metric as unreached, the maximum. That is, it means does not have any information about it, right? You see. Nothing. Tell me. So this time it have got this reply message that okay, I do not have any information for it. Even in query also you can open it. This query was generated by switch 2, and let me show you that what was the content, or what were the contents of this query message. You see, delay is what? Highest one, and bandwidth is 0 minimum. It means its metric will become highest one. It means it has gone down. Hello, you guys are getting this point or not? So in this way they have generated, and you see route was active. Fine. Now let me do one thing. Once again they will keep on to send hello packets to each other. Let me stop it once, and let me start it once again. Wait. On R5, let me do one thing, say shutdown. Sorry, no shutdown. So that it will give this update to its neighbor now. That okay, this route have came up now, right? And you know very well that how can we configure this switch 4 so that switch 4 will not give any reply message to switch 2. Do one thing. Let's do one thing. On switch 4 I will change its hold down interval. But in reality on switch 2 it will take place. So now what can I do? I will create one ACL on switch 2 and will drop all incoming Eigrp based packets. It will not break neighborship because it has to do it for that much time. And stuck inactive, active timer is what? 3 minutes. We will see. It will wait for 3 minutes, but then after 3 minutes it will reset your neighborship. It will reset your neighborship automatically. Hey, that's the operation performed by stuck in active state, right? So this time do one thing, move on switch 2, create one access list, extended ACL, deny Eigrp any, and then access list 101 permit IP any. So FA0x0 IP access group 101 in which direction? It will start to drop all Eigrp based packets, all of them. So IP access list. Understood? But it will not break neighborship because we configured that much hold down timer. And now what will I do? I'll start this capturing. And then again I'll move on R5 and I will once again shut down it. It will get query messages. It will also send query, but this time you see that reply is given by, you see, is given by switch 4, but these packets will be dropped by switch 2, and switch 2 will not get even acknowledgement of the query, so it will keep on to send query messages periodically. You see, queries are still generated by switch 2 because it is not getting any acknowledgement. Switch 2 is not getting any acknowledgement. Now you move on switch 2, show IP ICRP neighbor. Queue count is there because it's not getting any acknowledgement from there, right? But the thing is, show IP route 150.1.5.0 is still there. Via 58.5. Still it is having it inside its routing table, but if you check its topology table, show IP ICRP topology 150.1.5.0 245.245.245.0. Check its topology table now. What is it saying? Route state is what?
Active.
It has sent query messages, but it is waiting for replies from its neighbor. However, metric is highest one. It should have removed it, but it is still waiting for the reply message. Till that, it will keep that route inside its routing table via R5 itself, and it is there. Are you getting my point or not?
Yes.
But it have become active. You see, it's not getting any reply from there, and it is what? Active. Even if you say show IP ICRP topology, it will show you A in front of 150's network. This neighbor is in stuck, SIA stuck, you see.
Yeah, 1 2.
After completion of 3 minutes, see, now after 3 minutes it will reset this neighborship. Once it will reset this neighborship will go down because we have filtered all ICRP packets, right? Show IP ICRP neighbors. Still neighborship is there. You see, what is it saying? Cleaning up. And it took 3 minutes. It have broken its neighborship. And this time neighborship is not coming back up. You know why? Because we have already filtered EICRP packets with the help of that ACR. But I have shown you that after expiration of active timer, it will reset your neighborship. And now it will not be having that route inside its own routing table. Is it there? 5. And this is a problem. So how can we protect our our network? How can we prevent our network from stuck in active states actually? Because it can occur in EICRP, right? As we saw here. Are you getting a point or not? So you do one thing on FA0 by 0, remove it, and see once again its neighborship will come up. But the thing is, stuck in active state was occurred in your network, and due to that state, neighborship was resetted by EICRP. But remember, neighborship will be resetted for that neighbor only which has moved into stuck in active state. It will not break neighborship with all neighbors. It will not break EICRP neighborship with all neighbors. Remember all these things. It will reset neighborship, it will clean neighborship with that neighbor only which has moved into stuck in active state only. Understood? So for today that's enough, and tomorrow we are going to